Hey guys. Today's the day we get to figure out what happened to that family. It's been hard even getting ready for this video. I mean, I get anxious for everyone, but it's a lot. It's heavy. Anyways, alright. So, after the divorce with Daryl, she goes into her own fleet of depression, I guess you would or could say. I mean, there was a time I needed to be there for her, and luckily I was. But she ended up trying to get off cigarettes, and she took Chantix. Supposed to help you get off cigarettes. Now, she developed seizures after taking them. And we had been going to the doctor in the hospital. She had a boyfriend at the time. No idea what his name is, honestly. He was around for such a small amount of time. And I don't know how to judge that person because I don't know the situation well enough. But either way, he was there long enough. He did help out, and for what he did, thank you. Either way, he was there for some of the hospital visits, some of the things. We never really did find out what she was going through. But I mean, it's scary. I mean, my mom, she's not even supposed to be halfway done with her life yet. She's all of a sudden developed something she didn't have before. And it was worrying. I don't think we were really living together at this time. That's why I don't really know enough. Because she ended up marrying a guy named Vince, who is no longer with us. In my personal eyes, due to himself. Either way, she marries this guy, and they get a place, some land, and that's the positivity. Past that, he lays her hands on her. He's verbally abusive. Things that should never have happened, and I should have never have heard about it and let it happen. I was, luckily for probably me, not there when it did happen. Connor, not so much. So Connor, sorry that you had to deal with that, especially alone. But there was a time, and I can't remember when, if I was in the military, if I had just started getting into it, or whatever. There was a time that I came over and stayed the night. I was sleeping on the ground in the living room. I think we had a mattress down. Air mattress, maybe a normal mattress, I can't remember. But I hadn't been able to fall asleep yet. Not for any particular reason, I don't think. I just couldn't. And my mother and Vince are in a fight. And it leads to where my mother is laying on the couch, threatening to sleep there instead of together. And then she breaks out into a seizure. Now, Vince never comes to help her. I don't move because I'm sleeping. Her seizure stops, and she pokes her head up. Then I poke mine up. And she swears that's the only time she's ever done it. So, I go back to the military, or get in it. I leave, pretty much for good. I come back one time before she leaves, for good. I haven't seen her since 2014, maybe 2013, but at the earliest 2014. That is my mom. My little brother has had a daughter that she has not physically seen. There's some things that need to be fixed. But I go back into the military, and I probably moved into California, or no, like I think I just got into tech school. I think that's what it was. I got out of basic, and then I was out of Keesler, and then I came to Shepherd, and because Shepherd's in Texas, I can't even tell you how. But I ended up there. And then while I was in tech school, someone who was a big part of keeping me alive, I mean, while I was struggling out there alone, essentially, was my soon-to-be wife at that point. I owe her a lot just for that fact. She really did. She looked out for me. She cared for me. I know that. So it was one of those things that I do definitely owe her and that family a thank you for guiding me into, really, Lindsay pushing me into the military. Not for any bad reason, but she knew it was good. She knew I needed something to do, or I was gonna be way worse off. So, thank you. But yeah, so I'm in Shepherd. Lindsay and I meet in high school-ish, like after high school area. I mean, originally we met in high school, or would have, but due to a scare, we ended up not meeting earlier than we did. We ended up meeting at a party, and I never go to parties, but I went to a party, and that's where we met. And then we were together for 1.5 2 years before I got into the military. And then we kind of called it like, we really did. I mean, I'm sure she could say it, like, we did a lot together in that short span of time before me getting into the military. Not necessarily like too progressive, but like, I mean, we really did. We did a lot of stuff. We put a lot of things down so that we could then walk the path, I guess. We did it very well. So we did that, and then we were like, all right, well, I'm gonna go to basic training, and I'm gonna be gone for 2 months, 8 weeks, and let's see how we feel. Let's talk to each other every day. Let's send a letter as often as possible. There were honestly some times that I couldn't write, or there were times that she couldn't answer, or whatever the case may be. But we really did. We kept in touch, and we both felt the same thing. Unfortunately, we were really young, and even though we did experience a lot together, and we did experience the same feelings at the same time at that moment, the military ended up making it, one, really hard to be able to grow together, because we were physically separated for half of it. And I was in for 6 years, so that's 3 years. We were married for about 6, so almost 7-ish. I mean, technically 7, while waiting for everything to finalize, I guess. But so our entire marriage, we got to spend half of it together. We got to learn a lot about our teenage selves, and then we didn't get to necessarily grow together. We had to grow separately, and then when we tried to, I guess, I don't know, like, mend the two lives together, mend the things that have been changed that we didn't expect to change, or weren't really, I don't know, all kinds of excuses, I guess. all of them. But it was really hard that way. We both lacked a lot of knowledge on marriage, because everything else we did very well. Financials, we needed a little bit of help here and there, like kids might, but for the most part we were pretty good. We got both our credit really high. We did things positively. When I got orders to Turkey, I wanted to come home. I wanted to go to Granbury, and I wanted to see everybody, especially my mom. I just wanted to see everybody. That's really all it was. And I forgot. Lindsay was going to school. She was just about, I think she had just gotten into the LVN program, and she had like 4 months left or something, 2-3 months left, something like that. That made it to where I needed to report to the next base by this date, earlier than her date of being done. And now it's not unheard of for somebody to say, hey, look, our lives, we did have it planned. They also kind of end our lives, our plans end right around the same time you need me. Can we push it a little bit? Normally they would say yes. And the first shirt that I was talking to helped me out a lot, and she was getting everything ready. And then everybody approved my leave. I went home for a month because we were expecting for the date to get pushed back, and for Lindsay to be able to get all of her paperwork done, get her school done. We wouldn't have to stress, we'd be fine, and then we would both be able to go. I did not go on leave without that assurance. While I'm on leave, I get a phone call pretty much telling me I didn't do any of that, that I was trying to get out of something. So of course I fly back instantly. I have email traffic, so I show that to a tech sergeant. Oh man, I wish I could remember his name. And I had his number because he was a good dude. He read on me, he was like, you're good. Like, you're so good, don't even worry about it. I was like, you swear? Because I was just worried. I was young in the military. And he was like, no dude, you literally did everything. You're good. You got screwed because she had gotten put on a deployment and she had to drop everything she was doing. So it's not your fault, just forward these to me and then we'll go talk to him. And we did. And it was that. Now I did have to leave like a week and a half later, or maybe. It was that, and then no forgiveness, no worries, it doesn't matter. You gotta go. So, like, excuse me, if anybody actually watches the whole thing, it's hard to talk this long. But yeah, I didn't get very much leniency, and it sucked for us, because not only that, like, to go overseas you have to do medical things. You have to get certain shots, you have to pass certain tests to make sure that you can in fact go over there without something that might happen that would be better to have been taken care of on our side of things. And I hope I said that as well as possible so that it makes sense. They really are looking out for everybody. It's not a bad thing. It's awesome, thank you. And we would have done it, but we just thought we had the time to do it because she needed to focus on studying, not on how many shots, what shots she would need, how to get to Turkey, all that, like whether her mental health was good, any of it. She had to do all of that, and she couldn't do any of it because she was busy and we thought we had time. I didn't, and I had to leave, and she had to stay. Now we were, the whole amendment thing, and it was a rough decision because we were deciding on whether or not we were going to make amendments to get her up there. And honestly, I think we chose right with everything that happened, because when I got there, ISIS kind of went down. So everything kind of got locked down, and they had to send families back, so she would have had to get sent back. But she came out twice, she visited, and that was fun. But before I went back, to Granbury and saw my mom for the last time. I surprised her. She had no clue. It was literally one of those videos that you see, because it had been a while. It had been almost a year, maybe a little more, because I had seen her before I went to California. Then I drove to California, Northern California, and then I was up there until I got the orders. And then a week and a half before I left to Turkey, was my last day in Granbury. But I went down there. When I got there, I didn't tell her anything about it. She was actually still in bed, or just like taking a nap, or I don't remember what time it was. So I walked there, Vince is awake and he sees it and he's like, oh man, she's gonna go nuts. And I don't remember if he went in there to kind of wake her up first. I think he did. I think he went, hey, someone's here to see you or something like that. And she was like, well, tell him to F off. I'm sleeping. And he was like, no, I think you're really going to want to talk to this person. And then of course she turns around, but she's, you know when you just wake up kind of look, like, I mean, your eyes are barely up and you're like, okay. And then you see something, but your eyes go back down and you're like, okay, because you're already expecting for you to not be impressed by what you see and you're already going back to sleep. But it hit you. That was her reaction, and then she just, I mean, straight into tears, and it was awesome because I missed her and she missed me, and we were able to see each other again, because I did have bad news that I was going to go very far away for at least 15 months. Now I could come back, and I did, but it was for training twice, so I didn't get to come back for leisure or any of that, especially since I was only there for 15 months. I didn't get my family. It was all kinds of weird. I got promised so many things. I don't know. I should have been able to come back to visit the family. But while I was gone, my mom moves to Hawaii with Vince. She leaves all of our stuff in a house. The house is now gone. We have no idea where that stuff is. Now, my mom might have some things, but like I said, I haven't seen her. And Vince is gone. Been gone. And I'm not saying it in a rude way, but I am. That guy just wasn't nice. Period. Not that he deserved it. He didn't put himself in good positions, and that's what happens. But I mean, if you really want to talk, if you want our conversations to be anywhere near what they were, you have to show up. I'm not coming out there. First of all, I don't even like water. I can't swim. I don't care to swim. I don't want to get in. I know how to swim. I just don't want to swim. Ever. Plus, it ain't on me. It ain't. Once you left, what do you think I got? I mean, that's just the truth. So I love you to death, especially because of what we were. I respect you because you're my mother. But you come here. I'll meet you in the States somewhere. Well, it's a state, but you know what I mean. I'll meet you on this island. So next time we'll get into a little bit more. You know, it's hard to fit all of it in these guys. If you need to ever talk, and I'm sorry that some of my time is spent with negative air or minus, because I can't spit it out all the time. I'm trying my best not to just break. But we all get there. And if you do, I'm here. I'll listen. I'm good at it. So just let me know.